Damas y caballeros, mi nombre es Barack Obama y en el día de hoy voy a jugar al Stanley Parable, que es un juego que todo el mundo es viejo, todo el mundo dicen te rompe el cerebro, es un juego psicológico de esos raritos que me gustan a mí, así que vamos a ver qué tanto nos destruye el cerebro en esta edición del Bruche Stream y en este Bruche Video. Así que de Stanley Parable en el Bruche Stream, a ver, y en español, pa. Muy bien. ¿Jugaste de Stanley Parable alguna vez? No. ¿Por qué? Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que la computadora sea visible. Como saben, a mí me gusta que se vea bien brilloso. Introduce la... ¿What? ¿Cómo introduce la hora actual? Pero por ahí lo dejo de jugar. Bueno, en Argentina son... las 20... ¿Por qué quieres saber la hora? No, no, las 8. Las 8:25. ¿Por qué quieres saber la hora, Terrancio? 26. Bueno. ¿Puedes acceder a la configuración? Bueno, me preocupa lo de la hora, ¿eh? Son las 20, son las 8, no las 10, sí me confundí. Iniciar partida. Mira, muevo el mouse y se ve en el menú. Bueno, iniciar partida. Never the end is never the end. Nunca es el final. Bueno,
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Se ven los subtítulos, ¿no?
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made
medio clavo, Stanley.
his job. And Stanley
era feliz.
was happy.
Está bien. Stanley era feliz.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite
Algo que
forget.
nunca podría olvidar.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions,
No hay nadie.
call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Me voy. ¿Y?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Hola.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Qué? Es como que el chabón relata y yo tengo que ir haciendo lo que relata el chabón. A ver. Con la... A ver.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Cruzó. ¿Voy a la derecha? Pará. Me dice, el locutor dijo que tengo que ir a la izquierda. Pero a la derecha me llama. O sea, le quiero hacer la contra.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
A la sala de empleados primero, porque quería... Sí, quería. A ver.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Sí.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Bien.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Ok. Me quedo acá. Bueno, ¿me quedo? ¿Locutor? ¿Me quedo?
Yes, really, really worth it being
Capo,
here in
boludo.
a room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Me siento...
Really worth it.
Sí. Bueno, me voy. Chao, locutor. Me voy.
But eager to get back to business,
Bien.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
La concha de tu madre, pero ¿le quiero hacer la segunda? No. ¡Ah! Voy a la izquierda. Pero es que me dijo que tengo que ir a la izquierda. Pero no, le quiero hacer la contra a este chupapija.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Me caga pedo, boludo. Un maestro. Do not. Penalty for cargo.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy.
¡No!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you're very powerful.
Y ahí terminó. Me encanta, me encanta. Volvemos. Vamos, seguimos. Pará.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bueno, ahora le hacemos caso. Sin querer, quería ver si me dejaba.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door.
Voy a la izquierda, sí, locutor. Soy tu putita. Hago lo que quieras. A ver.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
El futuro fue ayer, mañana es el ahora.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Y dice subió. Pará. Dice subió. Pero está la luz roja. Bajamos. Hay una luz roja, tengo que ir. ¿Qué es esto? A ver acá.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that
me van a pegar un boleo en el orto.
Because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
What?
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
What?
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, He knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
¿Qué?
He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
What?
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin,
What?
the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
What? Ah.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear me? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Amigo!
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Oh, Mariella.
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind.
What?
I know what is real and what isn't.
¿Me morí?
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man...
O sea, siempre me muero.
But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment
hace
that
mirando
she
un
stood
cadáver?
there,
Yo salgo
staring
corriendo,
down
boludo.
at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Volvemos. Ok. Este juego, esto me está rompiendo la mente. Y sí, a ver. Bien.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Volvemos.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bien. Entonces ya fui a la izquierda y fui a la derecha. Vamos a ir a la derecha de nuevo.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the
Vamos a
meeting
ir a la
room,
derecha
and
de nuevo.
Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
Vinimos
it.
por acá. La admiramos.
Wow.
Muy bonita.
Yes, this room.
Chao.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Bien. Bueno, le hacemos
And
caso.
so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ay, la puta madre. ¿Qué dice el chat? ¿Y qué dice el chat? ¿Le hacemos caso y seguimos derecho? ¿O tocamos el botón este? ¿Qué dice el chat? ¿Botón o derecho? ¿Qué dice la audiencia? ¿Qué dice? ¿Botón o derecho? Botón, bueno. Bien.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Ok. Es un capo el locutor.
Oh, no.
¡La concha de tu
No,
madre!
it's to the right, my mistake.
¡Me troleó el locutor!
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
Locutor, pelotudo.
It's clearly... Oh dear, would you
Me
hold on for
troleó.
a minute, please?
¡Está viendo el guión!
Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left,
Me está
right.
troleando, boludo.
Yep. Okay, yes.
¿A dónde?
I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Bien. Hay un auto. Bajamos por acá.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick,
¿Qué?
Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to
Y ese Fighter, dice, el
It's all
Fighter.
rubbish now.
Y ahí en el
Whole story
fondo.
completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
No, ¿cómo
And this
de...?
time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
¡No! ¿Eh? ¡Hijo de puta! ¡Hijo de
All
puta!
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had...
No, pará. Vuelvo a hacer lo mismo.
When Stanley... Wait,
What?
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
La puta madre, y la puerta.
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with
No.
all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
¡Terrible! ¿Puedo saltar? No. Bueno, ¿qué dice? De tin, marí, de do, pingüe, cucaramá, títere. Fue. Vengo acá. A ver. Ay, por Dios, esto es un quilombo. Oh, pero Opa. ¿Qué hay acá? Everyone inner guilt. Culpa.
I'll say it. This is the worst
Everyone know what you
I've
did,
ever
I
been on. I can
Golden
promise you,
You lay your-
there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this.
A ver.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Me sacó
All
del
of his
jueguito.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver. ¡Pero la concha de tu madre!
It's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
A ver. I hate Mondays.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
Eh.
The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way
Puta
and
madre.
retrace our steps.
What? ¿Qué carajo?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Pero esto es... Acá es donde
Do you
traen los
remember,
cuerdos. Los
But
cuerpos.
you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Hey!
Congratulations! I
¡Vamos!
know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Gracias.
No, I don't feel right about
No,
this at
¿cómo que no?
all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work.
Sí,
for
me
that
forzó un
win.
montón,
Some
forro.
people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
No. Pero encima que había ganado.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line.
Muy bien.
How simple is that?
A ver. Seguimos la
You
línea.
see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Muy bien.
Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
La imparable. Stanley, 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 en la oficina, Stanley, Stanley, en la oficina, Stanley en la oficina, Stanley en la oficina, Stanley en la oficina.
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Come on, go back and look at that fern.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
What?
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Bueno. No sé. Pero era una planta. Bueno, y la música, estaba buena la música.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
¿Qué dice, señor? ¡Eh!
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything
a ese
we
lo
through,
despidieron.
Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
No me rehizo. Qué quemante, boluda. No voy a seguir la línea. Me voy a ir a la mierda. A ver.
You know what,
no.
Stanley? I say forget the adventure.
Pero me está escuchando
ese
hijo de
done
puta.
For us. We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
¿Por acá? A ver.
Now, yes, this is exciting.
El locutor es un capo.
Me and Stanley
El locutor es un capo.
A new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
Oh, la concha de tu
Go
madre
wild.
está.
Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Uy, se va para arriba. Okay.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
Bien.
From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
¿Qué?
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
¿Qué? ¿Stanley? ¿Qué? ¿El final de la confusión?
Oh, hold up, what's this?
¿Qué? Desvíate de la sala. Primer reinicio, segundo reinicio. Quinto, ha jugado al final de la confusión durante 17 minutos. Sexto. Stanley muere.
Eight times?
Stanley.
That's really how all this goes? It's all
intenta evitar una historia aquí. No hay oficina, solo un espacio negro.
I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Deambula por la oscuridad, encuentra una librería, abúrrete y vete. El narrador.
My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing wall. Well,
¿dónde
you
estamos?
Consulted me. Why don't I get to decide?
Acá estamos.
Why don't I get a say in all of this?
Estamos acá. Qué raro esto, boludo.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
¿Se paró?
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
Ojo.
The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
No, el narrador reinicia, toca.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if
Me queda el sexto, el séptimo y el octavo.
Journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
¡La concha de tu mamá! Me cagué todo, boludo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Un poquito me asusté, te digo.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bueno, a ver. Acá no había nadie.
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Mira la oficina del Executive Badroom. Ah, puedo entrar al barroom. Because the boss. El jefe te conoce. Bueno, no sé. ¿Puedo agarrar el shampoo? No. Y no hay nadie.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
¿Y cuál es?
And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
¿Cuál?
2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
Asombroso, verdaderamente asombroso.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Qué capo que soy, como lo adiviné, boludo. Pero me voy a ir a la mierda. Pero, ¿qué me tengo que tirar? Me mato si me tiro. ¿Qué tengo que tocar? Bueno, ya fue. Ah, pensé que... Qué boludo. A ver, soy adivino, ¿viste? Sí. A ver, bajamos.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Che, ¿qué dice la audiencia? ¿Voy para donde dice escape o voy para donde dice Mind Control Facility? ¿Qué dice la audiencia? ¿A dónde vamos? ¿Vamos para donde dice escape? Escape, bueno.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Ojo, Bueno. Pero me voy a morir.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No, sigo. Sigo.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ojo. Me voy a cagar muriendo, boludo. Me voy a cagar muriendo. No, no, no. Me vuelvo. Me voy a cagar muriendo. Me voy a cagar muriendo. No, no, vuelvo. Sí, porque si lo dijo el chabón, me muero. Sí, me muero. No, le voy a hacer caso al muchacho. ¡Pero me voy a morir! Ahora no te puedes devolver. ¿Cómo que no, boludo? Sí puedo. ¿Cómo que no se puede devolver? ¿Vos sos boludito? Mirá. Muy bien.
Of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Sí, señor.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place
Mirá, y ahí es donde estamos cuando llegamos.
Did he have the strength to find out?
¿Y esto?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore
fire.
the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
No, boludo. Medio filosófico este juego.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Vaya, Stanley. Mind controls idle awaiting input. Off. ¿Qué mierda pasó? ¿Qué mierda pasó?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
El código de antes 2845.
Yes. He had won.
¿Gané?
He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
No.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Mira qué lindo mensaje, ¿eh? No.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation. the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Mira qué lindo, ¿eh? ¿Gané? ¡Qué pedazo de drogadicción que es este juego! Literalmente, muy cierto, juega con tu cerebro, lo arranca y lo hace pedacitos. Si quieren ver más finales de Stanley Parable, que le vaya bien a este video, lo dan like y lo comparten y ponen en los comentarios: Pablo, hacete cargo de mi cerebro destruido. Les mando un beso. Me encantó este juego, boludo. Muy bueno. Bueno, Stanley Parable se va, se despide en el Bruche Stream. Y yo también. Un beso enorme. Lo quiero mucho. Chau, chau, chau.